All right, well, we're waiting for our fifth graders to come back out here from putting their instruments away. On the back of on our upcoming events, the only thing the fifth and sixth grade have, well, any of these kids really have left for the year, is our Memorial Day parade. This is downtown East Dubuque on Memorial Day morning, 9:30 the parade starts. We usually meet in the bank parking lot. I want to say EDSB, but I know that's not what it's called anymore. Fidelity, right? Fidelity, yes. We meet in the Fidelity Bank parking lot. We line up, we do our loop, and we come right back there. The whole thing takes about a half an hour. And the big thing is, we've got 2 weeks to learn a new song. So if I'm in fifth grade and I really want to do this, I need to know as soon as possible, because the other thing we're going to need for that is the attachment that goes on our instrument. It's called a lyre, L-Y-R-E, and that's how when we march, we can see our music. And each instrument has a different one. So I've talked to the kids a little bit this week. If they are interested in doing the parade, I just need to know as soon as possible. And I know a lot, we're gonna do a practice Friday morning. I know a lot of people are gonna be gone for archery. Next week, next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we can do it too. So that is that's our last big event of the year. Next up, we have sixth grade. We're small but mighty. I said to them today, I said they've done a great job. There's 8 kids up here, and at times there are 8 different parts being played. That's pretty amazing for less than 2 years of playing, I think. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. You're gonna recognize at least one of our tunes, but we're gonna start with a tune called Presto, and I'll talk a little bit more a little bit later.
Now in sixth grade, once we hit sixth grade, we can start doing things like solo and ensemble contests, which we ended up having in February. There was a little weather thing, so we ended up having it here instead of going to a different school. But we had a great morning, and some kids did solos, some kids did ensembles, which would be playing with a friend or two, performing for a judge. They all were critiqued, and they'd receive a medal if they received a 1 or a 2. And how about this? You want to stand up or you want to raise your hand? How about stand up if you participated in contests? How about that? Okay, so we got 50%. Raise your hand, those of you that are standing, if you did solo. 3 of you, all 4 of you did solo. That's brave in 6th grade. How about, did you do an ensemble for band? If you did an ensemble, raise your hand, like a duet or a trio. Yeah. And then, how about, some of these people are in choir too. Who did something for choir? 2 of you. All right, these guys, we've had a great year. We've made so much improvement this year. You can tell from what it sounded like in 5th grade to what they sound like tonight. They sound great. And it's tough being one of 8 people up here, right? I think they're doing a great job. So we've got one more song we're gonna do for you. Thank you. We got one more song we're gonna do for you before we bring the junior high band up.
right, next up we have our junior high band, our 7th and 8th graders. They meet with me 3 mornings a week at 7:30. And we have a good time. We get a lot done. My biggest band, you can tell. I'm excited for the future of high school band. We've had the COVID years, and we've kind of survived those. And you can see by the size of the junior high band that we are doing well. We've got 3 tunes for you. We're going to play, I think, at least one of them hopefully you'll recognize. We have several junior high students who also participated in contests this year. How about stand up if you participated in contests for band, junior high contests that we had here? Who are our representatives? Excellent. Small. That's okay. How about raise your hand if you did a solo? Raise your hand if you were in an ensemble. And how about who did stuff for band and choir? All right, good job. Thank you. You guys can sit down. Thank you. All right, we've got one more song for you. It's their favorite, so that's why I put it at the end. It's called Lightning. You can tell they like it. He was gonna do it whether I let him or not. I told him it was okay. One last time. All right, our last group tonight is the high school band. Small, but mighty. We have a good time. We've got 3 tunes we're gonna do two together, and then we've got one we're gonna bring the junior high back up for a grand finale. Start with a march called Darklands March. Now in high school, we have contests also. We also have something called the Conference Music Festival, which is something where we take the top kids from each school and we put like 10 different schools in northwestern Illinois. We form a massive band, massive choir. This year the festival was over in Galena in March. I think I'd like to acknowledge those people first. Did I just, okay, sorry. Yeah, I think I'm losing it. All right, here. So, stand up if you did the Conference Music Festival in Galena for band. You guys can stand. Okay, now, how about stand up if you did solo and ensemble contest for band in Savannah at the beginning of March? those that are standing who did a solo, raise your hand. Second by Priscilla. And of course, who did an ensemble? All right, you make it down. I'm done embarrassing you. Okay. For now. No, it's cool that they get to do these different things, these different opportunities. They can do individualized events. What started in 6th grade all the way up through their senior year. Joey, did you participate every year? No, not a couple of them. Ari, you've only been here since 8th grade, but you've done all of high school, right? Like 3 of them maybe for contest. Yeah. 2 years, okay. But you have the opportunity to do that. Hopefully some of them that are younger will do it every year. All right, we're on to our next song. Covington Square, yes. All right, at this time I would like to honor our students who are playing in their final band concert here at East Dubuque High School. Of course, those are our seniors. And we have 5 of them tonight. I'm going to call them up one at a time. I went in what I call score order by instruments. I know that means nothing to most of you, but they're not in alphabetical order because I did it that way. Let's have Ari Rodriguez come up first, our flute, our senior flute. Next up, we have Joe Delaney, alto saxophone. All right, this next one, he told me today that he only stayed in band to get the plaque. I'm hoping he'll stay for the last 2 songs tonight. And he had his wisdom teeth pulled last week, so we're lucky he's here tonight. Mr. Riley Camrood on the trumpet. And back in the trombone, the only trombone, the trombone section tonight is Emily Little. Woo! And last but not least, back in the percussion section, she likes to play timpani a lot. She had to play bass drum for one song because we didn't have a timpani part. But back in the back, we have Liliana Alvarado. I'd like to thank these guys for all of their years of dedication and service and participation in the music program. We'll miss you. We know it's time, though. We know you guys are ready to move on, right? You're all going on to bigger and better things and several different things you can read in their biographies and their books, in the program. But we wish them the best. And we have one more award to give out. That is the National Concert Band Award called the John Philip Sousa Award. It's given out in high schools all over the country. This person's name will be on the plaque in the band room for as long as the building's around, I guess, right? And their name will join several other names that are already up there of East Dubuque graduates. So here's what it says on the certificate. It says, in recognition of outstanding achievement and interest in instrumental music, for singular merit in loyalty and cooperation, and for displaying those high qualities of conduct that school instrumental music requires, the John Philip Sousa Band Award is hereby presented to Joseph Delaney. Let's give them one more round of applause. The final song the high school band is going to play tonight by itself is called The Cowboys, written by John Williams, the same person who writes the Star Wars music and a lot of other famous film music. And The Cowboys was a movie with John Wayne in it in the 1970s, maybe? You will probably recognize the music, so we're going to play The Cowboys for you. So we take a field trip every year. The 6th, 7th, and 8th grade got to go to Circa 21 Dinner Theater in Rock Island, and we saw Heartbreak Hotel, which of course was a Elvis story. And the high school band and choir students went to the Lincolnshire Marriott Theater in Lincolnshire, which is a north suburb of Chicago, and we happened to see Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. And we had a great time, and we came back, and I was looking through the files, and there it was. We already own the medley. So we decided that this is going to be our finale for the night, for the year. And we thank everybody for coming out. And I'm sure the custodians would love it if anybody would like to stay and fold up chairs. And we thank you. And those that are going to do the parade, I'll see you then. Otherwise, I hope everybody has a great summer. Oh, I forgot one thing. I should have said this earlier. Mrs. Hoffman reminded me. Concession stand. We've got regionals. I'll be sending an email. We've got 3 nights where we need some workers, and if you want to volunteer, let me know. If you don't, I'm going to send that email, right? So I think we've got the 21st, 22nd, and the 24th. So if anybody's interested in working one of those, let me know. Otherwise, I'll be contacting you soon. All right? Thank you.
50 to